Hello and welcome to this episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz, and in this episode you get to meet Darlene Karpaski. She's a success hypnotherapist and business strategist. And I love the way that she talks and communicates about money and about the energy of business. And so I'm going to bring her on so you get to meet her. Welcome, Dar.
Hey, it's great to be here, Mia.
It's lovely to have you with us, and we're going to have a wonderful talk. Before we get into our conversation, will you please share with the audience about yourself and what brought you, not to this moment with me, but what we have a passion that drives us for things that we love. Would you like to share that with the audience?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm Darlene Karpaski, and I'm the founder of Your Mission to Money, where I use success hypnotherapy and business strategy to help entrepreneurs and executives prosper even through adversity. I've been in business for 30 years in some incarnation or another. And in each of these roles, what I found is that inevitably we have a great level of potential that only seems to arise when we're facing great adversity. And right after the adversity, then, life kind of goes back to normal and people lose touch with that interesting and new growth really that takes place in the dark, rich, fertile soil of adversity. And I became really interested in this as over the years, I kept recreating myself, having to recreate myself and meeting, thousands of other people who didn't set out to recreate themselves, but because they had goals, they wanted more love, they wanted to create more money in their lives, be healthier, they needed to step into that being that they had been becoming, but really never set loose on their goals. And I've worked with thousands of people who've been depressed and anxious and burned out, and those of us, with those labels that have, gotten placed on us from the medical model, that model that teaches us, for the rest of your life, this is how it's going to be. Well, with the more than 7,000 clients I've served, and what I've experienced in my own life is that, my God, we're capable of so much more than that. And healing is in our DNA. And so, yeah, I'm really lit up around this, and especially, like right now with it, the state of affairs in the world, that we have so much more to offer. And when life cracks us open, wow, that's an incredible opportunity to unleash the next level of ourselves.
I love that. That's really beautiful. It's powerful when we do think about how synchronistic this time is in reflection to the overall journey of our life. They're very similar at the moment. We have the choice right now to thrive or just continue on the path that we're on, or thrive in a different way and create. So I love that. So let's talk about money, because a lot of people have fears around money. Very few people have joys around money. And we are on a money planet that we absolutely, it's essential at the moment to have money. So you had said to me earlier, which I love this, and I jotted it down, money is a place you come from, not a destination.
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept and reality, because, we live in multiple realities. Even our next door neighbor is experiencing a different reality than we are. And the thing that we seem to have in common, as a human race, is that we, as you said, we need money to live and to operate in the world. At the same time, there's a real anger and resentment and, feeling betrayed by money that a lot of people carry around. And, the clients that, I've worked with over the years, they're walking around working their asses off and just really giving their all. and then wondering why they see people who don't seem to be working, with that much vigor, and they seem to be having, a happier time of it. But the one thing that's true for whether people have a lot of money or are working because they really need to make more money is that both of them sacrifice something in order to get it. On the one hand, the folks who are really, and this isn't a popular opinion, but it's my truth. It's what I've witnessed in the people I serve. On the one hand, to really push back from selling your services and asking for an income, asking for money in return for your services, a nice premium fee for the transformation you provide. There's a sacrifice there because, your high performing clients really require you to call them into the equation and step into the ring of transformation and change. And so unless we step into that ring of transformation and change and join them in that moment, so vulnerability to vulnerability versus, okay, I feel really great. Yeah, I'm going to sell this person this service. No, this is a place where you come from. It's the place where you don't need clients. They need you desperately. Not someone like you. They need you. And on the other side of the spectrum, I've worked with many clients who, have, their cup is running over when it comes to money, but they've sacrificed their relationships. There's been divorces, and they've lost people that they loved and carry a tremendous amount of regret because they weren't there for them in the way that they would have felt more connected, more complete when that person moved on to their next journey on the other side.
That's so interesting because really we've always heard about, well, what's the most important thing? What do you think about when you're on your deathbed, when you're transitioning? And you just hit the nail on the head. It's absolutely not about the money. It's about the connection, the love, that space. And I also really loved, it was brilliant that it's not that you need the money, they need your services. And when you look at it that way, not only does it lightens up the energy around stuff, it's really, I almost started jumping up and down. Yes, 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 because that's absolutely true, an incredibly fantastic way to look at it, and so anybody out who's watching this is the truth. What were you going to say?
Yeah, the other thing I want to add to this, and this is really the central point, is, we're walking around, as sacred creatures. God made us in his image and likeness, but we're walking around with hoodies covering up, who we really are. And to create more money, it's not a matter of more doing, because if it were, you would have already gotten to that destination. It's a matter of receiving the divine inheritance that you are made as a powerful creator too. You can do these things and even greater. And we wait in our world to get to this place where we prove our worth. But even whatever views you hold, there's the story of, going through great difficulties and then rising up with greater powers. So every time, you came up against, a money trauma, a wall that kept you from getting the promotion or, growing your business and taking it to that next 6 figures. Every time you came up against that, every time you felt failure, some part of yourself in your subconscious mind was saying, but wait, let's change it this way. Let's do it this way. And it's trying, like your intuition, it's trying to get through to you. Like I always talk about, God, the loving universe, trying to get through to us. But we're so busy, we've got all this static going on. And I just imagine, God, just holding his head and saying, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to keep dialing, and
Yes.
yeah,
Is
it's not,
anybody home?
it's any, yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved how you brought up the abundance and that it's our divine right, literally. And about the receiving. When I was listening to you talk about, how so many of humanity covers themselves up, and you use the metaphor of the hoodie, literally. We're closed off to receiving as human creatures until we allow that divinity within us that opens it up, and we can align with who we truly are. Um,
Yeah.
it's a gift of abundance, isn't it? That we're literally brought into this space and time that's already ours. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The message the universe gets when we don't receive that divine inheritance. And I know, this isn't like something that people can wrap their heads around really easily, but in our deepest thoughts and feelings and knowings, we know this, but we've been afraid because, well, Jesus was crucified. I mean, that doesn't look so good. And, we've been bullied, we've been made fun of, we've been, the butt of jokes at the office, or, different ways that we've been injured in the business and money arena. We've been duped by someone, what have you. And all of that messaging, just takes up like all the space within your mind and within your world. And the universe is desperately, trying to help you to remember it's not about waiting for the universe to like part the Red Sea and deliver the goods to your doorstep. We need to step into the power of saying, yes, I am the offspring of God, the loving universe. And I'm open. I'm open to receiving it and walking from there. Even if it means, yeah, I'm going to be a target sometimes and I'm going to get hurt, because our world's gotten really, really afraid of being hurt and dying because we don't know how to do that work anymore. And so when it comes to money and creating money and prosperity in every sense of that word, it has so much more to do with how we manage loss and change and transition, so that we can keep evolving up into this next level of ourselves. Because we've already done therapy and business coaching and personal development and affirmed our asses off. And if it's not working, the question needs to be, what am I missing? That if I knew that I could then participate in, that I could step into, that's the question. What am I missing? That if I knew what it was, I could step into, and it would just be the biggest game changer, not only for you, but every life you touch.
It's very, very powerful. It's totally removing and stepping out of fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because when you remember how powerfully you were made, you know that even if, and I used to joke about this, my family was, always, they needed me continuously, for years, 27 years taking care of my parents. But I remember saying, if I walked outside, and got run over by a bus and there was a chalk outline, before the final passing, they would be like, well, wait a minute, do you know where this is or where that is, or something along those lines. But sorry.
It's just a funny analogy.
How our memories get hijacked, and suddenly, you're a chalk outline. And that's what it's about. That you feel like even if I become a chalk outline, I know that I'm energy, I know I'm loved.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm loved.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it wasn't always like that for me, not even close.
Right.
Not even close. And so this message matters for every single person,
Mm-hmm.
not only the people we serve, but every person who isn't even in our quote ideal audience,
Mm-hmm.
who needs to remember who they are and what they're capable of, and what they deserve to be able to create in their lives.
That's beautiful. So let's talk about, because this is really powerful, how to help your sacred purpose feel safe enough to be seen.
Hmm. Yeah, when that came through me in a download, I'm like, what is this about? So I asked when it showed up on the scene, and the message that I got back, because it was in the midst of working with one of my clients, and we were talking about like this whole movement in our society about being positive and affirmative and keeping everything on that level, because as entrepreneurs, executives, you have to have everything together or people might not want to do business with you. And so we've pulled away from being vulnerable and understanding that it's not just the positive, but the difficulties in our lives really leave a mark. Just like how Harry Potter, his scar because he was injured as a child when he who shall not be named came and killed his parents. So he has this scar that's the source of his biggest vulnerability, but it's also the source of his incredible power.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since our identities, this when loss or trauma happens to us, it's oftentimes, as I referred to earlier, when we're most open to being recreated, having the hand of life come in and walk with us, to hold our hand, even to carry us at times. At those times, we're asking, well, who am I now that this happened?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever this is, if it's a death, if it's a job change, or like this whole situation with the pandemic, who am I now?
Mm-hmm.
Because that whole crisis of identity that you go through personally dictates the journey that your business takes.
Mm-hmm.
So your business has an identity crisis too. And so when you've been pushing really hard, you've been doing lots of marketing and tactics and everything that of course I've done and was up to my ears in debt with, you start wondering, wait a minute, where's this going to end? And where it ends is in reconciling the identity crisis. Who am I now that this has happened? Because who we are is everything.
I love that. And thank you for bringing up the Harry Potter thing, because I love that too.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
been a huge fan since my first son was, I think, 5. He is brilliant, and he actually read the book in kindergarten when he was 6. So back
Wow.
back then we held our in private school. Generally, a boy goes through at 6 years old instead of 5, and he read the book, and then I took the book, and then my husband took the book. My first husband, their father, and yeah. So I love that. I just have to say I love that. So thank you. So we're coming to a close here, and you have a gift for the audience. Would you like to share it, please?
Yeah, I would love to share it with you guys. It's called Awaken Powerful You: How to Rise, Reinvent, and Rule Through Adversity. And, I'm going over things like money, how we can show up ready to receive. And the most important thing is how to have that all important conversation with that future you so that you have the information you need now to begin magnetizing that into your life, not just energetically, but with how you're teaching your mind to move into your true identity, who you were born to be, who you were set apart to be.
That's pretty powerful. That's an amazing gift. Thank you so much. I'm very moved by that. That's a very prosperous gift. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm walking you through a process that I use with my individual clients so that you can get into a state of grace, so that you can call prosperity, more love, and health and wealth, whatever it is that you're looking to create more of, because prosperity is a really big container.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You
there
know,
for,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's there for you.
And I was going to say that right before you said state of grace, I heard state of grace. And I was like thinking state of grace, and you like state of grace. And I'm like, bullseye, it's perfect.
That's because you bring out the best in me, Mia. So we're totally in sync.
We absolutely are. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Dar, for joining us. It was really lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Mia. It's been a real blessing.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you in another episode of Make Love Real.